She never expected a simple visit to a bridal boutique to turn into a nightmare. A simple woman, full of dreams about her wedding, walked into the boutique with hope in her heart. But the moment she met the bridal consultant, everything changed. The consultant sneered, whispered cruel words, and treated her like she didn't belong, humiliating her in front of everyone. Her cheeks burned with embarrassment, and she felt a mix of anger and heartbreak, wondering why life could be so unfair. Little did she know, this moment of insult would spark a chain of events no one could predict. The next morning, her life took an unexpected turn. Billionaires, known for their wealth and influence, were suddenly competing in ways she never imagined, all because of her. Invitations, offers, and attention poured in from directions she never thought possible, creating a whirlwind of suspense and excitement around her simple life. Now, the question lingers: how did a single act of cruelty from a bridal consultant lead to such unbelievable attention from the richest men in the city? What will happen next as these powerful figures fight over someone who is just trying to find happiness? The story is about to take a shocking twist, and you won't want to miss a second. She had always been a quiet, simple woman, living a life far from the glitz and glamour most people dreamed about. Her days were filled with work, family, and small joys: a warm cup of tea in the morning, a smile from a stranger, the occasional daydream about love. Weddings had always fascinated her, but she never imagined herself at the center of such high stakes. Attention? The bridal consultant's insult cut deeper because it reminded her of how ordinary she felt in a world that celebrated wealth, beauty, and influence. As she left the boutique that day, her mind raced. She didn't know that someone had been watching the right person at the right time. The whispers of her humiliation somehow traveled beyond the boutique's glass doors, reaching ears she could never have imagined. By morning, her inbox was flooded, her phone buzzing endlessly. Offers, invitations, and messages from powerful men, billionaires with influence, charm, and a hint of mystery, demanded her attention. She felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity. Why her? What did they want? Every message hinted at opportunity, yet carried the weight of unknown consequences. Her simple life was unraveling into a world she didn't understand, and with each passing hour, the suspense grew. Something extraordinary was about to happen, and she had no idea if she was ready. Her mornings, once quiet and predictable, had turned into a whirlwind of messages and calls she couldn't ignore. Each notification seemed more urgent than the last, some from men she had only seen in magazines, others from powerful figures whose names alone could change the course of any business or event. She didn't understand why they were all so eager to connect with her, a woman who had always preferred simplicity over attention. Meanwhile, the bridal consultant's insult lingered in her mind like a shadow, fueling both anger and determination. She couldn't help but wonder if this sudden interest was connected to that humiliating moment, or if fate had a more mysterious hand at play. Friends and family watched in disbelief as her life began to split into two worlds, the ordinary and the extraordinary. And each day seemed to bring new challenges she wasn't prepared for. As she navigated the messages, she realized that each billionaire had a different motive, a hidden agenda that wasn't immediately clear. Some promised opportunities, others seemed intrigued by her innocence, while a few appeared dangerously possessive. The tension grew with every interaction as alliances formed and rivalries began to surface. Her once simple existence had transformed into a high-stakes game, and the next move could change everything, but she didn't yet know who she could trust. Days passed, and the attention only intensified. She could no longer walk down the street without feeling eyes on her, and every notification on her phone seemed like a warning or an invitation wrapped into one. The messages from the billionaires had grown bolder, some hinting at business deals, others at personal encounters, and a few that simply made her heart race with confusion. Each new message carried a sense of urgency, as if the world itself had paused to watch what she would do next. Even her friends were worried, urging her to slow down, but she couldn't. Something about the chaos, the mystery, and the power at her fingertips kept her on edge, craving answers she didn't have. She began noticing subtle signs that the men were aware of each other's interest in her, each maneuvering carefully, trying to outdo the others without revealing too much. Rivalries were forming behind polite words, and she could feel the tension, even through text and calls. One evening, she received an unexpected invitation, an exclusive event where all the influential figures would be present. Her heart pounded as she realized this could be the moment when everything collided. She wasn't sure what awaited her there: admiration, betrayal, or something far more dangerous. The night promised answers, but also uncertainty that could change her life forever. The night of the exclusive event arrived, and she felt a mix of excitement and dread. The grand hall shimmered with chandeliers, laughter, and the soft clinking of glasses. But beneath the glamour, she sensed tension thick, enough to cut with a knife. As she stepped inside, she realized she wasn't just walking into a room of admirers. She was entering a battlefield of influence, power, and hidden agendas. Just as she began to navigate the crowd, a surprising twist caught her off guard. One of the billionaires, who had seemed distant and uninterested until now, approached her with an urgency that made everyone else pause. His words hinted at secrets, hidden deals, and a connection she had never imagined. Suddenly, the carefully orchestrated attention from the other men shifted, revealing rivalries far more intense than she had realized. Alliances were not what they seemed, and some of the messages she had received were only pieces of a larger, more complicated game. Her pulse raced as whispers and glances flew around the room. Every move she made felt amplified, every step watched. She knew that by the end of the night, everything could change: friendships, loyalties, and even her own understanding of what had truly brought these powerful men into her life. The stakes were higher than ever, and danger and desire danced dangerously close as the evening reached its peak. The room seemed to hold its breath. She stood in the center, feeling the weight of every gaze, every unspoken word. The billionaires, who had once competed subtly, could no longer hide their intentions. One by one, they approached, offering promises, apologies, and declarations that left her dizzy with shock and disbelief. She realized that the humiliation at the bridal boutique had been the spark, but it had also revealed her strength and grace, qualities none of them had anticipated. Then came the moment that changed everything. A quiet, unexpected figure stepped forward, someone she had thought was just an observer until now. His words revealed a secret connection between all the men. They had been vying not just for attention, but for a partnership that only she could influence. Her simple honesty and resilience had become the key to a deal far larger than she could have imagined. The tension broke as the men recognized her importance, not just as an object of fascination, but as a person with insight and power. Just when she thought the storm had passed, a final message arrived on her phone, shaking her to her core. It wasn't from any of the billionaires, it was from someone completely unexpected, hinting that her life was about to twist in ways even more unbelievable. The night ended with awe, relief, and a new mystery waiting to unfold. The days that followed were unlike anything she had ever experienced. The humiliation from the bridal boutique became a distant memory, replaced by respect, admiration, and new opportunities she had never imagined. The billionaires who had competed for her attention now treated her as an equal, seeking her insight and valuing her perspective rather than trying to impress or control her. What had begun as a simple visit to a boutique had turned into a life-changing moment, proving that dignity and authenticity could outshine wealth and influence. Her life slowly returned to a new kind of normal. She found herself more confident, more assertive, and more aware of her own worth. Friends and family noticed the change, inspired by how gracefully she navigated the whirlwind of attention and power. Even the bridal consultant, once a source of shame, became a reminder that moments of cruelty can sometimes lead to unexpected opportunities. In the end, she learned that life often surprises you when you least expect it. A single act of insult had sparked a chain of events that transformed her world, proving that courage, kindness, and authenticity can turn even the most humiliating moments into triumphs. And though new mysteries awaited, she was ready, stronger, wiser, and fully in control of her destiny.